Okay, hello everybody. My name is Taylor Bradley, and today is day 44 of my solitary quarantine and day 7 of my live streaming. I have to say, it's been a lot of fun, but I'm also a little bit tired. I'm ready for a little bit of a break. For those of you who have not seen this before, the reason that I'm doing it is to keep myself motivated and get myself cute every day and write and perform and kind of stay a human being. So I was going to do 7 days in a row. I've hit day 7. It has been a roller coaster of a ride. And I'm kind of just trying to readjust my mentality at this point. So also, last call. This is it. If you Venmo me $25 today by the end of the live stream, maybe by the end of the night, you'll get a paperback copy of one of my books, one of these, and you will get a handwritten, hand-typed out piece that's signed at the bottom. It's going to be a first draft, and an 11-word observation bookmark that will be laminated. So you'll get a whole little packet of stuff. If you just want to do $10, you'll get a copy of a print of my painting, Goodnight Texas. And my Venmo is Taylor Bradley 91. Okay. I also want to say thank you to anyone and everyone who watched any of the videos that I posted this week. It meant so much to me to see people continuing to tune in and to send me words of encouragement and support. So thank you. It really does mean a lot. Today, I am going to be sharing a piece that I wrote for the chosen theme, which is oranges, suggested by none other than Wayne Holland. And then I will go into sharing some pieces from my upcoming book, There's No Place Like House. So let's share the theme piece first, and then I'll talk a little bit about the book. So this one's just called Oranges. I've heard it said that grief is like an onion, peeling away layers, reaching new levels of understanding and acceptance. The skin is fragile and peels away easily, but it takes more and more work to reach each new layer. However, in my experience, grief is much more like an orange, vibrant, covered in porous skin, a tough rind that clings desperately to all of its inner workings. In order to understand what it holds, you must work to pierce the armor protecting it and carefully rip away at everything keeping anyone from devouring the tender segments. Grief pulls you apart from the center, laying you flat and pulpy to wait. So that's what I've got for that. Wayne, it looks like you're watching on Facebook, which is great. Question, is my screen like choppy or is it okay? Let me know, because on my end, it's looking a little choppy on Facebook and I don't know if I need to restart the video or not. So let me know if there's any problems. Okay, so also I want to go into some pieces that I have not shared before at all with anyone from my book, There's No Place Like House. And these are probably the most personal pieces I've ever written, the most vulnerable pieces I've ever written. And it's a collection that I'm working on basically that started from December 2018 until now. It's just pixelated. It's not like jumpy or weird or fragmented. Let me know. Okay, so basically, I want to share some of those pieces. I haven't shared them before with anyone. So we're going to give it a try today. So the first piece I'm going to share with you from that book is called The Cat. I knew it was a bad idea to name you, so I didn't. But I still find myself thinking about you as if you were my own. I met you about an hour and a half after finding a dead sparrow in not my backyard, its little feet curled around nothing, desperately, eyes to the sky. I was holding an overfilled bag of trash, and I stopped to look at him from afar. Then I went back inside with my bag, stretchy plastic poking out in every direction, and decided to wait. I waited for someone else to scoop him up and throw him over the fence into the open brush beyond Not My Yard, letting his face feel the breeze of flight one last time. After hiding inside while the deed was done, I went to a library that celebrated a president whose wife died recently to get an ornament for Not My Grandpa's coffee table White House ornament collection. When I came back, you were waiting for me out front, with big green sparkly eyes and striped tail and an affinity for face pets. You took to me quickly, following me to Not My front door, speaking with more intention than I have ever heard a cat have before. I returned quickly with deli meat, a bowl of milk, and a bowl of water, but you seemed interested in nothing but attention. I made a deal with you. If you come back, I'll keep you. Otherwise, be on your way. Have wonderful adventures. I went inside Not My house and closed the door behind me, locking it for dramatic effect rather than purpose. I spent the next 8 hours thinking up a way to keep you despite my complete lack of control and stability. The details are pathetic, so I'll spare you the nonsense. But the fact is that I cannot keep you. And that has ruined me. Possibly because I also didn't get to keep my beautiful German Shepherd. Possibly because all of a sudden I understood my mother on such a deep level that something in me shifted. And possibly because it made me realize how I simultaneously have all the control in the world, yet no stability. And it has sent me spiraling into an existential crisis about what it means to be an adult. Love for stray creatures is a dangerous undertaking, one that could leave you completely isolated if you aren't careful. Very quickly can sweet faces become the center of your existence, leaving all the humans in your life second-class citizens of your priorities, and alienating yourself into such a deep well of loneliness that even you can no longer remember a time when you were responsible for only yourself. You cannot light yourself on fire to keep someone else warm. I read that somewhere recently, and I'm feeling colder than ever. My skin is waxy and smooth from all the past flesh burnings, but even with the heat on my feet, I can no longer feel my toes. That night, I watched a movie about a high school party, then one with Don Cheadle, and I cried. Not because of the movie, but because of the cat, and the ornament that I brought home to no one, and the flightless sparrow, and trying to make a reservation for one for Christmas Day, and the painful 12-year process of forgiving someone who hurt you because he loves you more than anything, and closing the book on a 10-year relationship. But all I could do was cry and watch Don Cheadle pretend to be a radio DJ in the 1960s. When the movie ended, I stood up, threw on a coat, grabbed my purse, and left, carefully trying to avoid looking anywhere the cat might be, yet looking for him at the same time. I was caving in on myself. I kept seeing the bird lying there on his back, helpless and frozen, and I remembered her head hitting the ice. A sharp, empathetic crack rang in my ears, and I reached up and grabbed the back of my head and shut my eyes tightly, trying to sponge the memory from my mind. I drove past rows of poorly decorated million-dollar homes with mismatched tacky Christmas lights and dancing neon elves and giant inflatable snow globes and Costco-sized reindeer with crooked antlers and missing legs. 1970s recreations of hollow light-up manger characters set unevenly over perfectly manicured lawns, and LED light-up snowflakes that hung haphazardly along windowsills, piercing the chilly night air with violent brilliance. Upper middle-class America is so fucked up at Christmas time. I got to Not His house and watched the only street lamp on the cul-de-sac flicker on, then cycle through 3 stages of brightness before burning out again. I called him to come outside, but he didn't pick up. I pulled around the corner, still trying to find my footing before he called back. I slowly circled the neighborhood before picking him up. I didn't talk much, but I wrapped myself around his arm with a desperation likened only to the talons of a dead bird, and I sobbed. I dreamt that night of horrific violence, waking up every hour to remind myself that my reality was not warfare, and although I felt empty, I had not been killed. I awoke to the persistent, familiar buzzing of a leaf blower at 6 a.m., and I faced myself squarely in the mirror. Little blood vessels around both of my eyes had burst, freckling the dark hollows of the sockets in my head with red reminders of the previous night. Not only that, but I had developed a head cold. I went back out to water not my plants while my coffee brewed itself, my eyes rapidly scanning the ground for dead birds or oversized mice, which I have chosen not to write about, but it was equally as horrifying as the bird, or other omens of misfortune or rebirth or heartbreak or whatever the fuck the pagans have decided each animal represents. I found it difficult to water plants with my eyes fixed out instead of down, and I often caught myself rinsing patches of concrete on the side of the house or a bit of fence that hadn't seen a drop of water in months. I finished to the best of my ability and went back inside. I took my coffee over to the stair chair and threw my legs over one of the arms, a blatant disrespect of their intended purpose, and daydreamed in the direction of my makeshift storage space, a 9x8 patch of tile behind the second couch in the front living room that held all of my furniture and bins of belongings that would be moved to a unit of its own within the next month or so. The largest space I could afford was a 10x10, so I figured I'd play it safe and make my practice area a little smaller, just in case of measuring errors. I was not in a position to deal with any more setbacks. I sipped my coffee until my nose started to run. Then I climbed back into bed with high hopes for rest, but low expectations. So that was the first piece that I decided to share. Again, these are a little bit longer form than what I've been sharing with you guys, so I hope that that's okay. I'm having some serious problems with Facebook tonight. It is super pixely and weird. I'm not sure why. Well, I guess we'll just have to record the Instagram live because Facebook is a mess. Okay, sorry to anyone watching on Facebook, it's a mess. I'll post a better video later. Okay, this one is called House Spiders. Okay. When I was still living at Not My Grandpa's house, I stopped killing spiders. When I first moved in and all the surfaces were still piled with unclaimed belongings, little multi-legged creatures of all kinds would crawl into the light of day anytime anything was moved. Crickets lived in the walls and behind the furniture. Pincher bugs wriggled out of the shag carpets, and daddy longlegs inhabited every corner of every room in droves. At first, I was unraveling paper towels and taking these tiny fragile lives without a second thought in a desperate attempt to claim a space for my own for the first time in my life. However, I quickly found myself reluctant to grab for paper towels. I would discover their existence, these tiny beings, and just watch them navigate our shared terrain. Then the overwhelming fear that I would become that insane person who lives in a house infested by bugs would slowly but surely encourage me towards the kitchen, towards the wheel of disposable quilted paper product, and with a swift but heartfelt, "I'm sorry," I would pinch them between my bounty-covered fingertips and throw them away with the empty cereal boxes and soggy tea bags. But one day, as I was heading out the front door, I noticed a new little cluster of spiders that had built their webs reaching from the floor to the ceiling of the entryway, and within it were cocooned crickets, entrapped to be devoured at a later date. I paused. Maybe it was not my job to kill off all these unsuspecting little organisms, and more so than that, maybe I was doing other insects harm by taking away their natural source of food. I saw no reason why I could not continue to live in quiet harmony with a few dozen spiders in the hard-to-reach corners of my temporary home if they continued to help me by eating some of the excess inhabitants. Soon after that, I noticed a gathering in the ceiling corner above my bed. I debated their fate for weeks. I hadn't noticed them up until now, so they couldn't have been too much of a nuisance. However, they are living precariously on strings directly above my sleeping face and all of its orifices. But they will eat any other bugs that might find their way into my room. On the other hand, It's a group of more than 6 or 7 spiders that I'm allowing to live on my walls and ceilings. Does that make me just as crazy as I was originally afraid of? Maybe I should take them outside, I thought. But it's freezing outside, I thought. But they're fucking spiders. All of nature lives outdoors. Not everything needs a house to survive. Then it hit me. No, not everything needs a house to survive. Not even humans need houses to survive, especially in Southern California. But it certainly makes things a little easier. It takes the sting out of the air when the heater's broken. It certainly makes you feel a little bit safer. It makes it easier to sleep at night knowing you're tucked away behind a few locked doors and latched windows. So it should go without saying, but saying goodnight to the spiders became part of my bedtime routine. It wasn't a big thing. It wasn't even out loud, since who knows how much English spiders understand, so talking to them would just be ridiculous at that point. But it was just a silent acknowledgement in their general direction, a moment to direct some love and positivity into that particular ceiling corner, as if to say, I don't know how much longer you'll be allowed to stay here after I'm gone, so be aware that this is temporary. But for as long as I'm calling this address home, you are welcome here. Who am I to decide that this available shelter can only be inhabited by one living creature at a time? Who am I to take that little bit of ease out of your lives for no reason whatsoever? You are not a nuisance. You will not bite or sting. You just need a place to rest and eat. And so do I. Good night. I wish you many more evenings of peace in your life. Okay. This next piece, hopefully that doesn't make me too crazy. Let me know if you guys kill spiders or not. I know it's a little bit of an overthinking piece about spiders, but it's kind of how my brain works, as I overthink everything. Facebook is an absolute mess today. It's so glitchy. I'm wondering if I should stop it and restart it. All right, Facebook, I'm going to try to stop and restart the video here because it's a mess. So hang tight for a minute. Let's try this again. Instagram, hang tight for just 1 minute. Facebook is a disaster today. Okay, let's do this. The next piece I'm going to talk about is called Losing My Grip. And then maybe if we have time, there's one more piece after that I want to share about keys. Connection issues. Let's try again. The beauty of live entertainment, folks. The beauty of live entertainment. Okay. Facebook. Let's try this again. Okay. Facebook, if anyone's watching, let me know if this is any better. I tried to just restart it. Who knows? Oh boy, it's screwy. Okay, well, we're just going to do our best. Instagram, it's all you at this point. Facebook, if anyone's watching, hopefully it isn't too screwed up. So this one's called Losing My Grip. Despite my desperate attempt to control everything I touch, my grip is loosening on everything my fingers encounter. I cannot walk with sure purpose anymore. Stiletto clacks bouncing off the pavement on my way to the car, keys wound tightly in my palm, finger resting gently on the unlock button to ensure a smooth entrance into the driver's side door, sliding the key into its carefully carved place, twisting with just enough force to wake the engine into a low purr, releasing the emergency brake pedal, sliding off my driver's side shoe and placing my toes on the brake with just enough pressure to hold me steady for a moment while I pull away from the familiar location of my seatbelt, directly over my left shoulder, until finally peeling onto the road and with effortless grace. Now, every night I pull into parking lots I have no right to park in, to find every space occupied, including the tow-away, no parking anytime, unmarked space, and the half space beside handicap spots that's marked with diagonal blue lines to give room for loading and unloading passengers. A motorcycle has managed to squeeze between two vans, and just the sight of it makes me feel trapped. I slowly back out and circle the block, desperately hunting for a glimpse of the sidewalk. I just need enough space to squeeze. It doesn't have to be easy. I'm 3 blocks out, and still I'm only greeted with bumper-to-bumper vacant cars and the occasionally poorly judged parking job that could have been 2 spaces that is now 1 car parked halfway between the car closest to the front and the pickup truck behind it. 4 blocks out, I find a space that is mostly flooded, save for the driver's quarter of the car, complete with carpeting of buildup of mud and tumbleweeds and trash that I can hear tearing at the undercarriage of my car as I pull into the spot. I get out and hear the rushing water that I have just intentionally pulled directly into. Something uphill has obviously flooded and is depositing the underbelly of Palmdale beside the sidewalk of the apartment I'm currently crashing in. I open the back seat, dig through my entire closet of clothes on hangers that have fallen off the rack I attempted to install in my back seat, and sling my laundry basket over my shoulder, fresh from the laundromat and ready to be put away in my suitcase inside. I fumble for my keys that I accidentally put back into my purse already, forgetting I need to pop the trunk to bring the gifts that I wrapped in so I don't leave valuables in the car overnight. A few moments of blind digging, I find the keys and click the button. The trunk unlatches, spilling 3 rolls of wrapping paper that had shifted during my drive into the muddy river of gunk and swiftly carries them under my car. I do not flinch. I load my arms with the presents and close the still very overfull trunk of books and shoes and whatever other miscellany I have deemed necessary for my survival. I stand unmoving under the sickly orange streetlight and watch the muddy river rushing at breakneck speed around the 2 tires I parked closest to the curb. Unable to jump the distance and too tired to think, I remove both of my heels and walk barefoot through the flood, eyes 1 to 2 steps ahead of me, and attempt to avoid stepping on used needles, broken glass, or small dead animals. Anything else is manageable. The chill of the Mojave air at 11 p.m. around Christmas numbs my feet almost instantly, making it a little easier to withstand the discomfort of walking barefoot on crumbling asphalt through the claustrophobic parking lot. I stick my finger through the opening on the security gate where the handle used to be and pull it open wide enough to rush through before it slams behind me and run up the stairs to apartment 203. I've gotten very good at remembering the personality of new keys and how to make them work smoothly with their pairing of doors. So aside from my arms that are full of laundry and presents and my laptop and journal and current book and an Albertsons bag and my unzipped purse over my shoulder, I managed to unlock the door and push my way into a heated apartment. I set down all of my things in a heap in my designated corner, promising myself to put my laundry away tomorrow before work. And I take a swig or 2 of vodka from one of the bottles in the freezer to keep me from overthinking before bed. Oatmeal is an easy and affordable dinner that can be microwaved in 2 minutes and dressed up with a bit of maple syrup. I pull off every thread of clothing that I can never get to feel clean anymore and tie a robe around myself so I can make my way to the bathroom to wash my feet. I sit on the countertop with hot water filling up the sink and stare at the roots of my hair and the newest pimples on my forehead and the exhaustion behind my eyes, and I tell myself that I think everything will be okay one day. I just need to keep going. I run soap between my toes and on the soles of my feet and rinse them off, feeling some sense of accomplishment. Then I climb into bed and read or journal for the 10 minutes I can keep my eyes open. I awake the next morning to remnants of mascara on my pillow and a chalky taste in my mouth, and I do nothing I planned to do except drink a cup of coffee and pull on the same clothes I wore the day before and gather my Albertsons bag and purse and head into the cold. I walk 4 blocks through a misty daze of sleepiness and a very mild hangover. The water has run dry, as it tends to do in the desert, and I can easily open my trunk to pull out a different pair of shoes and toss the ones I wore outside in my shoebox. I open the back seat and rummage through my pile of clothes on hangers and decide what to wear to the office. and I change unabashedly as people pass me on their morning commute. In the broad daylight of my front seat, I open up Google Maps and type in the address of wherever I'm going today and slowly pull out of my parking spot to the sounds of plastic and tumbleweeds scraping free from beneath my once gingerly parked car. Noticing I need gas, I drive away from the freeway entrance towards the center of town and pull into an open spot. I slide my credit card through the machine and am prompted for my zip code for verification. Fuck me, I mumble under my breath, eliciting some side eyes from my gas-pumping neighbors. I start running through the options, half out loud. 93551, no. 9101, nope, that's work address. 93065? Was that my last billing address? I don't think it's the P.O. box. 93094, nope, that's not right either. 91202. Is that what Glendale was? That doesn't look right for some reason. Did the newest address change get processed? Let's see, 93063. Please see the cashier. I hit the machine with my palm a little too hard and wait impatiently for the transaction to cancel itself. The screen restarts. I reslide my card. Zip code. 5 empty lines just staring there, waiting for me to remember my most recent registered information. Do I have any cash? I dig through my wallet. No, of course not. Who carries cash anymore? I look up the area codes for Glendale and type in the one that rings the loudest memory bell. It brings me to the next screen. I passed. Somehow this does not feel rewarding. While I literally bleed my bank account dry, I collect any trash from my car to be thrown away and run inside for another coffee and bottle of water for the commute. Estimated driving time, 1 hour, 24 minutes. The gas nozzle clicks to tell me it's finished, and I replace it to its original home. I get back in my car and I struggle to muster the strength to turn my car back on. The weight of the moment is so heavy, my shoulders are sore. My fingers tried for a moment to operate the key just long enough to start the engine, but my arms fall. They hang loosely at my sides, and my head falls against my steering wheel. A brief moment of defeat. After 4 or 5 deep breaths, and a moment or two of misty-eyed weakness, I lift my head and start the car, peeling away effortlessly, with any grace still left in my fingers. That's all I have for you for now. It's 8:28. Facebook was a royal disaster today, so I'm going to try to upload a video of my Instagram live to Facebook. Sorry, anyone who's watching on Facebook. I tried. I hadn't had any problems up until this point. So to wrap everything up, I hope that those of you watching got something good out of this week with me. I will be posting updates on what's next on my Instagram and Facebook in the coming days, but I think I need a little bit of a break. If you ordered a book or a print, it will be going in the mail on Wednesday. I will be reaching out to you to make sure you're getting all the right pieces. And the entire live stream, all 7 days, will be up on YouTube if you missed any of the earlier videos and want a higher quality than the Facebook videos. They have tended to be very poor quality so far. So, cheers. I did it. 7 days. Bleeding my heart out for my giant audience of very supportive people. It really does mean a lot to me that anyone who tuned in. So thank you for being there. I appreciate it. And I'm sure I'll see you guys again at some point. Stay safe out there. Read. Be kind to yourself. You don't have to understand all of your emotions right now. All right. It's been wonderful. Bye, guys.